first off, welcome back, guys. I mean, all of you get a little bit of normalcy now, and as I was saying to our team earlier, that feels good for everyone, and hopefully we can all sort of embrace this moment, enjoy it, and celebrate having baseball back. And I think that's the most important thing for all of us. And obviously there's going to be some baseball issues that come up. There's going to be some people that are late to camp. There's going to be some people that may get hurt along the way. But ultimately we're just happy to have baseball back, and we're looking forward to our season. Today's day one, and it's the start of an abbreviated version of spring training, but at least we have one. And most importantly, we feel a lot of confidence in this club, and we're looking forward to them being able to do what they love most, and that's play baseball.
Is that the number one goal, come out of here healthy?
Well, I think every camp is, right? We've all sat here on day one. I guess this would be my 15th time addressing the media on day one, and we always talk about depth. We always talk about pitching. Do we always have enough of it? And we can always have those debates, but that's certainly something that's going to be tested. And in a year that's unusual, where you're having to prepare with a shortened schedule than normal, it's something that's going to have to be on all of our minds on how we strategize and actually have a plan to have a healthy start to April.
Ollie said the group is in good shape. They've put in work. He said that shows the seriousness of this group. Have you kind of gotten the same reaction?
Yeah, I think we both received the same download, right? And most importantly, this is a very veteran club, so at least we have people that sort of understood what they needed to do to prepare for this camp, which is good news. Now, you still got to get out on the field. You can replicate a lot of things at facilities, but it's a little different when you're going through the reps. So we just want to be cognizant of that as we think through this and plan. But most importantly, it's going to be something that our medical staff, performance team, and our coaches are very cognizant of moving forward.
And, we interviewed Oliver Momrell, and he told us about his speech to the team. He mentioned that he used the words honesty a lot and competition. What were some of your takeaways from his speech to the team?
I think he touched. I agree with that. First off, not debating, and I also think a key part of what he was saying is that he wants people to embrace culture. In other words, we are about winning. That's our culture, and so you're either part of that and embracing that, or you're probably going to get pushed out. And so whenever you're addressing a group of that size, and especially some people that maybe are not familiar with what expectations are here, I think that resonated. In other words, it wasn't complicated. It was very simple, to the point, and take advantage of what we have here. But know that we're not looking for distractions. We're looking for people to appreciate and embrace our culture.
He's been pretty blunt about his expectations for this team. You guys usually talk in terms of contending and trying to reach October. He's put 2 words on it in World Series instead of, it's not that, it's disappointing. How do you feel?
Well, I've always told you guys I never speak in absolutes. So, so using that, look, I think he's excited about this club. We all are. I think I've been doing it long enough to know that trying to position expectations so high that you can't guarantee delivering. But I think really what his point is that he knows we have a talented team. He knows there are guys that understand what it takes to win at a high level, at a consistent level, and what it takes to get to October and what it's like to win in October. And so when you have those attributes or those traits, you can easily connect dots to getting there. Obviously, for all of us that have been around the game a long time, we know there's other things that also factor into that, and that's good fortune, good health, good luck, to name a few. And so there's some things you can control and there's some things you can't. And the good news is we have a talented team, and hopefully we can control that.
Well,
Can you share anything about the Yachty's situation?
I don't have any details other than he had reached out to me a few days ago just saying that he was going to be delayed for personal issues, and I said that's fine. And I do hope to talk to him in the next few days, and so get a little clarity or a little update.
I don't have an idea how long.
How long? I don't, but I hope it's shorter rather than later.
If he say over the next couple days, that seems that he's going to miss. I mean, it's a shortened camp, so could he miss a significant amount of camp here? Or?
Well, I don't know. How do you define that? Like, is it
And
one
that's what I
day
guess
long?
what I'm asking you. A couple of days seems.
A couple of days is a couple of days. I mean, like, it is what it is.
How about with Genesis and Giovanni?
Cabrera, I know, missed his flight. Or didn't miss it. It was canceled, so he's flying in today. And Gio had to tie up some personal things as well. And I think we expect him in by Thursday, which is a couple days.
This is why. I mean, with a pitcher, it's
Even
a little,
worse.
Yeah, a little different than a catcher.
Ollie said Waino was going to throw today. Will that let you know that it's officially the start of spring training when 50's on the mound throwing
Oh, I don't need Adam to recognize that as day one. I mean, I think we all recognize this as day one, right? I think when you meet with the club, we don't meet with the club on a daily basis. We meet with them in my shoes, maybe a couple times a year or so, and one of those days is always the first day of camp, and so this is cool.
What excites you about Dakota Hudson this season and his pitching arsenal?
First off, it's great to see how he finished last year, so on a healthy note. In terms of why we're excited about what he's capable of doing is he's a ground ball pitcher with 3 Gold Glovers behind him. So you would just say that's a natural fit, and so I think the other thing that's exciting about Dakota is he just feels good about where he is. So he had a good off season, and as all of you guys can imagine, we haven't spoken with our players for over 100 days, and so trying to sort of digest where they've been, what they've been up to, and really where they're at has been really the biggest thing we've been trying to accomplish over the last 72 hours. And so, now we've heard, but now we get to see.
Did you have any injuries pop up over the
Pop up. I do know we have one player that's getting an extended look right now, and that's Alex Reyes. So we'll have more to follow up on that.
on an elbow, shoulder?
I believe shoulder.
With Wainwright throwing the first live BP, it can be looked at it's both symbolic, but he's also an ace too. What does it mean to have him in that position as being the first guy to throw?
Well, I mean, I was reflecting on today on sort of what to say about Yachty and Waino, and then I'd put a lot of thought into that, and then on my phone I saw that Brady was coming back, so I scrapped a lot of what I was going to say, but acknowledging that, I think what does it personify? It personifies longevity. It personifies excellence, and in a lot of ways, it personifies the Cardinals, and so that's cool, right? I mean, like all of us who have gotten to know Adam over his time here, I think everybody would agree. He's a special person, and unique talent, but as a man or as a person of what he's meant to this franchise and what it means to be able to toe the rubber of the very first one, he's earned it.
Where do you see your roster in the next 48 hours? Are you pretty, with the addition of Whitgren, the addition of the gentleman you sign over, whose name I'm really going to learn how to pronounce? I can spell it, but Verhagen, am I pronouncing it
You
right?
did. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
So Verhagen, with those 2 additions, where do you feel your roster is at this
I mean,
point?
I think rosters are still pretty fluid. I mean, there's a lot going on in the game. I'm sure your phone will indicate that. And so, for us, it's going to still be paying attention to that. And are there some things that we may still try to do? Yes. Will we accomplish them? I don't know.
Does the pace of the market allow you to take a look at any of these guys? I mean, I guess the question is, what are you going to learn that you don't already know
Not
about?
much.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is a unique time, but as I've said to you guys the other day, I mean, obviously having flexibility and being nimble is probably the nice thing to have. But the good thing is we like our team, right? So we're not out desperately having to fill something at the moment.
Well, now that you've had a chance to have these conversations with your pitchers, do you have a better expectation on how you're going to modify their workload this spring?
I think that will be something that develops really over the next few days. Again, we've spoken to them, now we get to see it. And so I think that's really sort of a 2-part equation before you get 1 and 1 is 2. Right now we know 1. And so like we got to figure out what's sort of next.
Is
Do you
there
go
any?
Go ahead.
Is there any lingering concern over some of your starters that are coming back from substantial injuries? I don't know if you've talked to Jack or Dakota or Miles really about their status.
We have, and the answer is no at the moment. But like that's the point. Like I think like, in the next few days we'll probably learn a little bit more. But our fingers are crossed. Everything will go well.
With the condensed camp, looking at the camp and then and also at the start of the season, the first week, do you come in to this looking with a plan that says, if everything goes right, these are the 5 guys that are going to start, or 6, or whatever we're going to do? Or do you try to leave it blank and let your eyes tell you who's where as far as the progression?
No, I think like we'll probably do the former. Like we'll probably have a pretty good idea who we think our 5 are. I think really the math then becomes like, how do we think about more of it in terms of like piggybacking on top, right? Like so ultimately the real thing's going to be like, what's our number of pitchers we can carry? Will there be a roster increase for the month of April? And then I think then you can sort of reverse engineer how you want to think through that. But I think we're going to go into this with the open mind that we hope we can identify 5 starters, but we also have to think about how we think about the piggyback, or based on how deep they can go in a game.
And that's for both spring and the regular season, or is it just regular season?
No, that's like getting us through. I mean, in spring training, you see that every opening camp, right? Everybody sort of knows, like, Derek's going to get 2 innings first outing, then hopefully 3 to 4 the next. But you got to now jump to what April looks like, and then how are we going to support that?
Mo, this obviously would have been a notable spring for Ollie at first time running camp as the manager, regardless of the things that have gone on. But what have the challenges been, and how do you feel he's adapted to just kind of on the fly having to maybe change some things from the way he had envisioned it?
Yeah, I can only imagine like what he's been thinking about or having to sort of think through, right? You get excited. You've been named manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's cool, right? And then you're thrusted upon a shortened schedule or abbreviated schedule, and like he would tell you, like everybody's dealing with it, so like it's not a pity party for anyone. But having said that, I do think like he's just trying to work with his staff and making sure that I's are being dotted, T's are being crossed, we don't miss anything. Like one of the strengths I think of our camps have always been, we pride ourselves on little things, details, and how do you do that when you have 4 or 5 days before your first game? Right, and so I imagine we're passing out Cliff Note versions of lots of things to people to be able to speed up. But in that speed up process, you got to make sure you don't miss the details. And so if some of the things that we might have accomplished before game 1 of a normal camp, we might not be until game 8. But that's going to be the internal adjustment we'll have to make.
Well, one last one. This 5 Gold Gloves. How much of a sense of pride do you guys take in that as an organization, and how much of that starts with the little details, like you said?
Well, I think, look, first off, we're blessed with great players, right? But I think all those players would tell you that they work very diligently to achieve that level of greatness. And so I think having somebody like a Goldie, even a Yachty or Nolan is probably just just a huge influence on our younger players. And like if you're Tommy Edman and you're looking to your right and left, and that's what you're playing with, I mean, obviously you're naturally going to try to upgrade your own game. And we saw it happen last year. And so like when you talk about pride, I mean, it's very unique to have a team that got recognized for the defense like it did, and it's not something that any of us want to take for granted. So to maybe it's not so much about pride, it's about like how do you keep it going.